Really excited, and of course we are going to be talking about creative today, and to get everyone in the right mood, I'd like to show you a short video. I really hope this works.
This is a not-so-great ad for AppsFlyer's creative optimization solution.
Wait, not so great?
Yeah. Now that I can finally measure and analyze my creatives across media sources, I can say that your performance isn't that good.
Oh man, that's what they said in acting school. You can't even play a boring tech guy.
I was talking about the creative, not you.
Oh, so how do you know what works?
The AI technology breaks down the creative elements and pinpoints which performs best. So we can analyze the CTAs, the opening scenes, and even the character.
Oh, that's smart.
Hey, guess what? It is you.
Yeah, but you said that.
Well, there goes my self-esteem. Find your winning creative formula with AppsFlyer's creative optimization solution.
Hey, has anyone seen my mouse?
Yes, absolutely. I'm actually more of a dog person myself, but you get the gist of what we'll be discussing today. I was told I need to present myself, so I'm Vicky Petel, Senior Product Specialist for AppsFlyer. I manage product go-to-markets, and basically in the past 4 years, we've been focusing heavily on creative optimization. And why did we do that? Well, recent years have shifted weights between all of that mix that you're seeing here for creating effective advertising into a point where, of course, which part is the biggest contributor to all of that? No need to really guess, because it is, of course, creative, but it's not just creative. It's by 49%. And this statistics highlights that while media placement and targeting, they really are important, creative is the biggest lever you have now on your campaign performance. And the reason for that is something that we've all been experiencing. All of you, you're facing, all of this industry, we're facing the new privacy changes, all of the new data policies that are that we need to face with, right? iOS 14, cookie deprecation, Google Sandbox, all of that shifted weights from device level data that is down the funnel into aggregate data that is at the top of the funnel, creating a huge signal loss for anything that is post-install. Now, at the very top of the funnel lies creative, which is a huge factor that can either make or break your campaign performance. Basically, now you guys need to rely less on behavioral targeting and focus more on your experience of your ad. The text, the copy, the design, the characters, that becomes much more important. But how do you resonate? How do you make sure your creatives resonate with your target audience? Well, basically, for that reason exactly, we have been focusing heavily in just that. In fact, at AppsFlyer, we sought answers from a wide spectrum of companies globally, from every shapes and sizes and verticals, in order to really pinpoint that. And today and the next, I think we're left with around 15 minutes, I'm going to share a few learnings that we were able to gather from that. This clicker only works on the second time. Okay, good. To get everyone in the right context and a little bit of a perspective, you probably all have a certain spend goal to achieve, okay? So for example, for a monthly spend goal of $2 million, by a show of hands, how many creatives do you think is needed? Don't be shy. 10. Ooh, it's like I'm paying you. 15. All right. Well, so for a $2 million monthly spend, actually, what we do end up needing is 2,000 variations of creative. 2,000. And if your monthly spend goal is $10 million, this goes up to a whopping 6,000 creatives. Imagine the numbers. Okay. So advertisers need to produce thousands of creatives. That's fine. We understand that. But how many of those creatives do you estimate actually work? And this time, please participate. How many of those creatives do you estimate actually work? Let me hear you. A third? Anything else? 10%? Wow, I wish. It's actually, the sad truth is 2 to 5%. Please click or work. Okay. 2 to 5%, and 5% being the very edge of the successful scale, the rare one. Okay, it's really around 2%. What does that mean? Reaching your budget, your spend goal. And what does that tell you? It tells you that companies put so many resources into producing thousands of creatives in order to finally chase the winner one. How expensive and how inefficient this process is. 2% to reach 90% of the spend. That's crazy. Whereas our customers who have been able to leverage data-driven insights into this process were able to reach up to 80% successful creative. Cool. So, companies understand that to create that process, they would need to research, they would need to ideate, iterate, production, etc. And of course, the optimal process and the optimal scenario for all of us would be to be able to prioritize quality over quantity, right? Remember the sad truth of the rates that we saw just a slide before, recognizing that a single successful creative will by far outperform multiple mediocre ones. And this is exactly what we're trying to solve. So we understand this, the challenge for us is to find the winning creative, but why is it so hard? Many marketers identify the following blockers. First, aggregating the data. Start with a very basic first action that you need to perform is aggregate the data, which from multiple data sources, multiple data sets, multiple standards is really, really time consuming and it's very error prone. Basically creating a really challenge process to create one standard and analyze. Next, even if you are able to somehow aggregate the data, it is never as accurate and as granular enough for you to be able to get that full funnel performance data. Then, you'd be surprised to hear, but today most of the production processes are based on guesswork. It's based on a hunch, because it's hard for advertisers to understand why certain creatives work and some don't, which makes all of this process, again, very expensive, very inefficient. And lastly, because we have misalignment between UA teams and creative teams, that doesn't help the process, and it's hard to connect creative plans into campaign goals. By the way, most of the companies we've seen manage this process across company on a spreadsheet. Still. So, bottom line, if you don't get a holistic, full funnel performance of your creatives, you really struggle to boost your performance and get more return on your ad spend. Okay, there we go. And even if you are able to somehow identify your creative winner, note that it is ongoing because you found the creative winner, but then fatigue sets in and you have to restart the process over and over and over again. And because many companies understand that, then we're seeing this new role that is becoming very indispensable in this process, a creative strategist, which is responsible to basically manage this magnitude of process. But let me tell you this. Even if you do have a creative strategist, you can't strategize based on a hunch. This needs to be data informed. And as such, because we have been working in this field, we are often asked, what is the winning formula? The truth is there is no magic spell. But what there is a wealth of knowledge, a list of do's and don'ts, of best practices that we were able to distill from our experience. And today, like I promised, I'm going to share with you. This is the report that we recently released in collaboration with TikTok and SciPlay, and which, by the way, is totally available for all of you fully. I will share a QR code for you to access the report, but it will entail all of the statistics, all of the insights, all of the best practices. I'm going to share a glimpse with you right now. But But the gist is this: we understand the problem, we understand the challenge, and we understand the solution. Here it goes. Starting with everyone's hot topic, user-generated content. Essentially content created by your end users to reflect real-life experience with your app. Well, as you can imagine, UGC works best on social media because it is perceived to be more native in this environment, which makes sense. As it turns out, in terms of IPM, for gaming, it will outperform by 12%, for non-gaming, 22%. Again, all of the details and the insights around it you can find fully in your report, but just kind of to give you a little bit of background. When it comes to retention, it draws a little bit of a different image. You are all required to find that balance and that sweet spot between UA efforts and finding a really good IPM into retention, which don't always correlate, right? So note that if it is retention that you are aiming for gaming, UGC will not yield the greatest results. If, however, you are non-gamers, then go for it because the results we're seeing are much higher for retention. Again, okay. Oh boy, you gamers, you just love your attention, your special treatment. So if you are playing a game, as it turns out, which makes sense to some extent, you're much less likely to engage with an UGC ad. It's just very much out of context. So for gaming, aim to use gameplay, aim to use animation, which will create a virtual kind of gaming environment. Anything else? Absolutely go, oh, whoops, sorry. Absolutely go for this, for real-life footage, which yields much, much greater results, again, for non-gaming. A few more key takeaways that I'd like to review with you. Variety is key. Remember, we talked about 1 out of 50 ads that is the winner, but again, this is an ongoing cycle, so we need to recreate all the time and create a variety so that we can test as much as possible. I do want to focus on a few things here, which is match creative, so the platform and context is key. In terms of the platform, understand that one creative that works in a certain platform will not necessarily work on platform B. There is there's a level of context, which brings me to the last point, which is context is key. If you found out that yellow works, it will not always work. Your character will not be always the one that works. The dress, the whatever element that you're using very much depends on the context. Remember that and try to iterate around that. Okay, so as promised, this is the QR code to get the full report with all of the statistics and key learnings. Feel free to reach that and get full report. By the way, myself and Max are here to answer your questions after this session. Feel free to reach out to us at the end of the session. We're not wrapping up just yet because while we are here to talk about what's right, I don't want to only discuss what's right now, but also what the future holds for us, right? And how to best prepare for that. And remember, we talked about the sad rates of successful creatives. We talked about how that makes the production process really, really expensive and really inefficient, right? Which essentially performs as some sort of a bottleneck. I'm really aware now that he's taking my photo. Boy. Okay. Anyways, this creates a bottleneck in this process. Now, oh no! Okay, go there. So bottleneck in the production process. Is it open? Okay, good. I want you to imagine a world where you can, at the click of a button, create a magnitude of creative variations. Now, of course, because you have seen the slide, but also you can guess that I'm, of course, referring to Gen AI mainly for videos. All predictions go for that. I think really there's no way to elaborate on that. And while it is the future, we're seeing already now various companies that offer production automation, either by template generation or localization automation and various other methods. But of course, this will become more, it becomes smarter, smoother, larger, right? But make no mistakes, folks. This is a double-edged sword. Because if you think about it, it will only push the bottleneck further down the funnel. Okay, we are able to solve production issues, and it'll be much less expensive than it is now. But now, how do you choose which content to test? Because on the one hand, most likely you don't have unlimited budget for testing. And on the other hand, you have an abundance of content. How do you decide where to even start testing? So if now you need performance data, with what's coming up next, it'll be the only key, your only way to overcome this challenge. You will need even more creative data. You'll need even more full funnel visibility to guide the production process and iterate more and use more models and try to overcome that. And brands that will adopt creative, data-driven processes today will come out on top for sure. I urge all of you to focus on getting your full funnel visibility now, today, so that you can get your 2% into a whopping 80% as well. With that, I'm done. Thank you for participating and being so nice with me. I'm here to answer your questions if you need. תודה רבה.